What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? It's another great Saturday. Got some excellent news. Finally, audio version of "Can I Be the Man?" A letter from us to you is finally out and available. So for all of y'all that maybe don't like to read or don't have the time to read, guess what? You can have someone read it to you now. Of course, I got to give some shout outs to the frequency for allowing us to be the brain, the King's Court, to the frequency. We definitely appreciate you. Shout out to Lady Latina for that as well. Thank everyone that came out to the book release party on Thursday. It went up. If you missed it, it is live on Facebook as well. You can go back and take a look at it. But as y'all can see, it is not just men that is here today. We actually have a few ladies here with us as well to be able to give y'all point of view in the midst of these discussions. I'm not even going to attempt to introduce them. I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves. So, who would like to go?
Sunshine. So I'm Chasity.
Well, hello, my name is really. Go ahead.
I'm Chasity B. I am one half of Occasionally Posh podcast.
That's all and I'm Sunshine on the other half, and the brains and everything else for Occasionally Posh. I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
She does everything.
But thank you, gentlemen, for letting us be a part. Thank you.
Not a problem. I'm gonna tell you now, y'all don't have to give us more than just that. Those some of the quickest intros I've ever seen in my life, but that's all right. That's all right. We gonna pull you in. But matter of fact, we about to dive straight into things deep. What is our topic for today?
Topic of the day. So whenever your book first dropped last month, we were supposed to have brought some females on the panel. For those who have been watching us since the beginning, we talk about some of everything on this panel. And we said we was going to bring women on to talk about their dealings with sexual assault or men who don't know how to take no for an answer. So with that being said, ladies, have y'all ever been in a position where y'all have encountered issues of sexual assault or men who just don't know how to take no for an answer? What I mean by taking no for an answer, I mean like you're gonna be at a grocery store, they just don't know. They don't know how to take no whenever you tell them that you don't want to give them your contact info, you don't want to go out on a date with them. You tell them you got a husband or girlfriend at home, whatever your preference is. They just don't know how to take no. So they started getting their feelings.
Talking about an unwanted body count.
This surprisingly happens a lot. Men they get mad if you don't want to give them like your phone number or stuff like that. They get mad. They want to call you all types of names, and then that's when they want to say that you're ugly and all this kind of stuff. So a lot of times I just take a number and don't save it, or I'll give them a number and then block them because I just ain't got time for the harassment. Like, it's just easier sometimes to just give them the number and go about your business than to sit there and get harassed.
Yeah, I agree with her. It definitely happens a lot. Men don't like they think that it's a challenge if you say no. So they feel like, okay, she said no, but does she really mean no? And they just kind of keep going and going and going. And then even after I got married, it would like stop or slow down. But sometimes it could be even worse. Like they trying to challenge whether you happy in your marriage or whatever the case may be. I actually had an instance happen not that long ago like in the middle of Walmart, and I'm just trying to go in there and buy some groceries. And the guy seen the ring on my finger, but he literally followed me like 3-4 hours trying to figure out, I know you said you married, but how long you been married? You ain't been married long enough to be really married. Like, just make excuses. So I don't know if it happens. Does it happen to men like it happened to women? because you know they say we like to leave y'all out. Like this stuff happened to us too. So, do women harass you guys the same?
Off the top of my
I
head,
don't even know if I want to put that out script. To be honest with you, you know. But no, and there are some aggressive women. You know, it has happened a couple of times. It's a little different for me because I don't walk around with the ring on, but neither me nor my wife. So it's a little bit different, you know, and thinking to the line. Not, but look, I'm married. I got 10 kids. Got 10 kids. Yeah, I don't have time for it. Yeah, time. Yeah, child support is not gonna get me. Back up.
Okay.
But no,
it's always it's always the girl. It's always the girl you don't want to say nothing to you. To be the aggressive one too. They can sense it too. They be like, come here, boy. You be like, come here, boy. You be like, but
That's usually what happened to women as well. It be the ones that we really don't want. We're like, I done seen 2 other cute guys, but it's gonna be you that come over here and disturb my peace.
right.
So what is
and you know, just in light of the subject, I was talking to somebody the other day about that, and they were talking like, why are certain guys able to do certain things with women or to women and get away with it, and other guys aren't able to do that? And I think it goes back to if it's welcome or not. Like if D.L. Hughley said one time, he said, you ever seen a cute girl crying at a car? You're like, what's wrong, baby? You know, oh man, I hate to see a little pretty thing, you know, like you crying all the time, whatever the case may be. But if it's like a girl who ain't attractive or whatever the case may be, like, get your hands off my car. So I think that's what happens on both genders. But for me, my experience is always, especially, and I'm married too, but I mean, you know, men are not the most attractive of the side of the species. So I don't think we typically get the attention that women get. But when it's somebody that is beautiful or whatever the case may be, we tend to act differently. Even if we're shutting it down, we act differently than if it's somebody that we don't find attractive.
Right.
This is true.
I agree. I think women do that too.
I was just about to say
I think women are more fearful of rejection, though. I think we are more fearful of rejection. So at least the women I know, like, you know, I'm gonna ask you one time, you say no, all right, you going about your business. Like, I can't speak for all women, of course, but most people in my circle, we're not gonna harass anybody. Like, either you want us or you don't. Like,
I don't even want to harass. I don't even want to ask one time, because if they say no, my feelings is gonna be hurt.
To say we are the same on this one, because men are fearful of rejection as well, and that is part of the reason why they be cussing y'all out when they do get rejected. Things I'm tell you, real. You have to understand the thought process that a lot of us actually go through just to build up the confidence just to walk over there and say something. So I'm telling you. Yeah, we just as afraid of that don't even make sense. How we both scared.
right.
How we both out here scared. I see you see me. Who gonna say something first? I'm nervous.
Right.
See over there, I'm nervous too.
But the thing is, usually the one that comes up is not the one that the woman wanted to come up. That right there is what the issue usually is.
This is true.
Yeah. you know, that's funny because
right time. Sorry, go ahead.
No. After you, ladies first.
No, I was just gonna say sometimes it's just about right place, right time. Like sometimes y'all see it ain't the time. Me in there buying groceries with all my kids ain't the time for you to be in there talking about, hey, let me get your number. Like
so when is so
me at the clinic, me at the health department, me in the park with the kids. Like Right person.
Well, you can't say the right that you can't say, you know, I was taught this in insurance when I first started. The guy that was mentoring me, he said, you can't say the right thing to the wrong person, and you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. And that's somehow true. As for me, when I was single, it was a sport to me, and I was looking for rejection because it helped weed out the process. So I was kind of built differently. So, but you can save yourself a lot of time if you're polite. A lot of times people aren't polite when they approach people. But if I ran across a girl and she was having a bad day or she wasn't feeling it or anything like that, I could simply just make eye contact with her and just say hello to see if there was an invitation for me to go over there and speak to her. And I think a lot of times people are tone deaf and they're not paying attention to the signs. If a woman is having a bad day, or if a woman is in a committed relationship or something like that, she's going to give you the signs right early on. And it's not your job to go and test the theory. If you just try to be polite to her and you say good morning or good afternoon or hello, how are you? You look really nice, or try to be complimentary to them, and they're not really receiving it. That's probably a person that you don't want to mess with anyway, because that person might have a bad day, or that person just might not have people skills. So I'm looking for the no right away, but I don't have to be aggressive to do that. And a lot of times you can do small talk, like, you know, ask them where the nearest coffee shop is or whatever the case may be, just to get close enough to them to just ask them, say, hey, look, I just really wanted to say you're cute. Wanted to know if we could hang out sometimes. If you could just be straightforward with people, you'll really weed out a lot of things, I think.
That would be perfect. Instead of, hey, Ma, hey, what's your name? You look good. Like, oh, that drives me crazy.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? And that works if she's filling you off the jump. Going back to what I was saying about you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. Because I done seen some dudes holler at a girl in the mall. Remember when we used to go to the mall? You know, That was a thing. Mm-hmm. When you used to see a dude holler at a girl or whatever the case may be, you know, some pretty boy, light-skinned, curly hair, walk up to a girl and be like, hey, yo, mom, what's up? And she'd be like, ooh, and she start biting her nail or whatever the case may be. And he was in there. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't because he had game or nothing. It was just like she was feeling him right off the jump. But let a dude that ain't good looking go and be like, yo, what up, ma? And you're going to see the different reaction.
This is true.
Do I look like your mama?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And he just got away with it.
Mm-hmm.
That actually.
All right, so are y'all familiar with the term to the ladies? Are y'all familiar with the term unwanted body count?
Unwanted body count?
Yes.
I mean, I got my own definition of it. I don't know if that's what y'all mean.
Right.
Okay. What's your definition of it?
If there was a condom, it doesn't count.
You know what I'm doing.
Okay.
That is not what he mean, I'm sure.
Yeah, that ain't it. But,
man.
I like that, but that ain't it.
You know what? Hold on.
Ain't cheap. But no.
Hold on. Just one sec. Men, I need you to hear what it was that she just said. She said, if there was a condom, it didn't count. So when we were talking about body count, need you to remember how they think.
I do not agree with you. Just want to make it real clear. I do not agree, but continue.
That was wrong right there.
Go ahead, Dave, man.
Headen ain't teaching either. All right. So once the body count is you getting ready to be intimate with a man or a woman, whatever your preference is, and you change your mind. No means no at the end of the day. But he or she, whatever your preference is, they start to get aggressive. And you give into their sexual advances, although you don't want it. That's an unwanted body count.
I actually had that happen to me to a ex-boyfriend. I was younger. I was like 18, I think, 17 or 18. And it happened. And I was really, really, really upset. And to this day, like, he still tries to talk to me and he doesn't understand why I'm so angry with him. Because we actually didn't ever have sex that day. He stopped once he saw me crying. But I felt like it was like rapey, but it didn't happen. So I couldn't necessarily say that it was rape, you know? But I've had that happen.
So it's safe to say.
So let me.
I
was just gonna say, so you saying that unwanted body count is somebody make advances to you sexually, and initially you may have been in it, but then you change your mind and it still happened? I'm just trying to make sure I'm clear.
Basically, where a man pressures you to the point where you trying to get rid of him, so you just give him what he wants so he can go about his business type of deal.
There's it.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so. Usually if we there and we already on that page, it's going down in the DM. No, I was playing, but I don't think I ever like.
This is whenever you go back to what I said. You put the condom on, it don't count. So
you know what? Bye.
Listen to what's being said.
You know what? You know what? I'm gonna blame. You know what I'm gonna blame for this? I'm gonna blame class participation awards. I mean, we have created a society where we don't teach our children at a young age that you're going to lose sometimes. And this creates an entitlement culture that we live in right now. And everybody, take for instance, you can't even fight anybody anymore without it being a 99% chance of a retaliation on a deeper level. You go and you whip somebody's ass, and you got to be looking over your shoulder for somebody to come and shoot you.
Right.
You go up to a beautiful looking woman and you try to shoot your shot, and you get Dikembe Mutombo'd, and now she is the worst person in the world. She ugly, that and the other, whatever the case may be. You were in a relationship with a woman, and y'all were loving each other down. You leave her and she running around telling everybody how small your junk is. Just stuff like that people just can't seem to accept no. And right. The reality of it is you learn more from your losses than you do your wins. So when a woman or a man, whatever you prefer, if they say no, you just need to find out why, so you can go and perfect your craft. So your next time that you make an approach, you get a better shot at getting what you want.
You know, I totally agree with that. That's one of the things I try to teach my boys. Like, I hate participation trophies. I hate that they get those whenever they play sports. I want it to be either most valuable player or most improved player. And if you didn't get it this year, then you got to work harder to get it next year. And so I try to let them know it's okay to fail. It's okay to lose. Like, you just got to learn from your mistake, practice, and get better at it. But it's hard whenever they still getting participation trophies and all this kind of stuff, because they don't understand. They're like, well, I still got a trophy. Yeah, but you didn't get the most valuable player. Like, everybody got one.
It's like you got to coach. And it's like you got to coach. You got to reteach that. You know, they come home and they're excited about that participation award. They accepted it in front of their peers and a crowd. They're getting standing ovations and crowds. I mean, you know, doing all that other stuff like that. And they come home and they feeling real good about themselves. And they robbed you of an opportunity for there to be a teaching moment. I remember, and I use this as a football analogy. I hope you ladies can follow this. But 2 years ago, Ohio State was in the semifinals of the national championship, and the wide receiver ran the wrong route at the last play, and then it was an interception and they lost. And so that was painful and that was hurtful. But they stood in that They went into the off season. They channeled that negative energy and used it as fuel. And then they came back, and lo and behold, they played the same team, and they took them to the woodshed. And that's what we got to learn how to do. These losses help us learn and build.
Hey,
That's
Lee.
part of the reason why I'm a big fan of combat sports. Everybody know I coach boxing and all that other good stuff, but it's a team sport, but it's based off of individual. Or now, when you get in that ring, it ain't not one of your teammates gonna be able to jump in there and help save you. It's you versus that other individual, whatnot. And for me, it's one of the greatest teachers in life, because that's how it is in life. You got your parents, you got your teachers, you have your mentors, coaches, all these people imparting into you, telling you about life and things of this particular nature. But when you get out there, guess what? It's just you and whatever experience that you can actually come across that you're gonna have to fight against. Period.
Right.
But I'm gonna throw something else out there. When we blaming class participation, I'm gonna blame the pappy. I'm gonna blame the pappy. Because it's our job as fathers to teach our sons about rejection and every other thing else. How to doggone approach a woman, how to respect a woman. And at the same time, on the flip side, how to show our daughters how to be respected and how a man should approach you to begin with. So for me, that's the core of it. That is the core of it. I ain't gonna, there's a lot of us up here, so I ain't gonna do one of them long rants. Somebody else.
So how do you fix that problem with all these homes with no father in them?
Mm. All right, from in my opinion, that starts with the uncles. You got the uncles. You might have some older male siblings or something of that nature, or just people in the community. They got to. I noticed that a lot of Black women say that Black women are probably the least protected species on the planet. Nobody protects them. So with that being said, we as men, we got to start to observe that, especially when these single parent homes that you be speaking of. I'm like, that's our job, if the women allow us to do so, to step in and we got to nurture them. Just that simple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I believe some of these so-called alpha males out here need to really step up and do their responsibility, especially if you're considering yourself an alpha, because when you look at nature, the alphas in nature, they're not just responsible for their immediate family, they're responsible for the entire community. So if you're claiming to be an alpha, part of your responsibility is the entire community. So you need to step up and start mentoring some of these kids that are out here that don't have their fathers in the home and whatnot.
Yeah.
I know for me, it's a little bit different because do we have the ability to be able to mentor and help guide these kids' lives? Yes, but there are important pieces that are missed out because they don't have that active father that's coming home every day, that they're actually seeing the interaction between the man and the woman. And whatnot, it's something powerful about being able to see your father love your mom. Something powerful about that.
Correctly.
And deep intimacy.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say correctly. I think a lot of kids, a lot of people, even our age, they grew up in houses where the parents stayed together, but it wasn't healthy love. So then you got these men that don't necessarily want to deal with what their parents dealt with. So they don't know how to love. They don't know how to parent because they really didn't get that love and parenting that they were supposed to get as a child because their parents stayed together for them, which it really didn't benefit them.
Right. And on the flip side of that, a lot of women don't know how to love because we try so hard to be opposite of what we seen
Mm-hmm.
that we actually end up rejecting men that's good for us, but because we seen one little sign of, oh Lord, here we go, then it's hit the escape button.
Mm.
Just being real. At least that was my problem a lot. Like I didn't have I don't even remember my parents being together. So that's how long, they weren't together. And my mom went through bad relationship because of her upbringing and her not dealing with her own trauma. So like I said, as I got in my 20s, I was like, okay, I know what I'm not gonna deal with. And sometimes that wasn't always the answer.
Right.
I'm a firm believer that mothers teach us how to love and fathers teach us how to respect. And if y'all get a chance to read the book, you're gonna come across a chapter that talks about respect is love. That's the other side of the spectrum. As men, we see, view, understand, and know love through the lens of respect. And what I mean by that is that in most cases, women know and that their man respects them through the love that they actually give them. Where on the opposite spectrum, as men, we know that you love us through the respect that you actually give us. Or whatnot. So
Right.
for me, not having that father there, it's crippling for me. It's crippling for me because you have a lot of us out here that don't even know as men what respect is. We think somebody stepping on our shoes and not apologizing. Well, sometimes they can apologize. It's being disrespectful. We're gonna send the whole club up because this joker done stepped on our shoes because we feel disrespected.
Right.
No, not at all. So it's a couple of things that that we need to fix. Real quick though, hey, I appreciate everybody that's in the comments. We see you in there, Miss Yolanda, Mama Saeed, Rika. I see my sister Takara up in there as well. Well, we got a whole lot of ladies. Okay, here go one man. Thank you. I appreciate you, Trill. None of the ladies in here lighting it up.
The takeover.
They lighting it up right now, man. As a matter of fact, Mama Saeed said women can most definitely teach their boys and girls how they want to be treated and how to treat a woman. I've done it and continue to do it, although I do understand the need for Black males in the home. Definitely appreciate it. I think one of the
I agree with that.
when we have these discussions or whatnot, because you'll hear us say it. We try not to call men out of their name or anything of that nature, but we'll call them underdeveloped. And I was having a discussion with the wifey the other day, and she felt like I was still being offensive in doing that. But I think the way I see it is that sometimes truth is a hard thing to deal with. It's a hard thing to deal with. And the reality of it is the vast majority of us out here, to include myself, are underdeveloped. Why? Because the things that we needed in order to become fully developed, we missed out on. And so in order to fix a problem, it's no different than an alcoholic. They can't do anything to fix themselves until they realize, hey, I'm an alcoholic.
Right.
So you have a lot of us out here and that feel like everything is good, everything is okay or whatnot, but deep seated or in that subconscious, there are things that are going on that we don't even fully understand because we have missing pieces. We have missing pieces that need to be filled, that needs to be corrected, which is the reason why I feel like it is important to have that father there. Yeah, even for those of us that don't know our fathers, I tell everybody, go find them. Because there are things about yourself that you will never understand. He holds the key to it. And if he's dead and gone, go find his family. Find out what type of individual he was, what type of mistakes he made, so you don't go down to that same path. It is important. It is important. Okay, I'm gone. My rant is over.
I was gonna say that also falls in the line of parenting as well. Like, you know, growing up, a lot of us kids feel like our parents was just not loving, not caring, or not doing, you know, things right. But in reality is you can't become you can't become a great parent until you deal with your own issues as well. So if you grew up and stuff happened in your childhood that was traumatizing, how are you going to effectively parent your kids if you never dealt with your own issues or your own situations? And that turns back into me saying, what's wrong with Black families going to therapy? Why don't we go to therapy, guys?
Mm.
Because nobody's supposed to
Because
know
The
what's
stigmatism
saved
to
in the
that.
house.
Yeah.
to me, it's a sign of weakness. That's it. I'm like, that's the second answer. I believe Ron hit it on the head, but it's something that y'all two ladies, y'all spoke about that on Wednesday. And that's a fact, first and foremost, that it is something, it's not anybody else's business. We just want to sweep it under the rug. I know some people, they want to sweep it under the rug because they want to pretend like it never happened. And then once they get triggered, they start to bring back them unwanted, unpleasant memories. Some people, is just seen as a sign of weakness. They don't want to feel vulnerable, especially men. That because we are taught by society that men are not supposed to cry, we're not supposed to have emotions or none of that type of stuff. So that puts us in a vulnerable place.
You know, if I could, if I could say this right here, and I know this is going to be controversial, but I'm gonna say it anyway, and that is, men and women have their own kryptonite. Women typically their kryptonite is their emotions, and men kryptonite typically is their pride and ego. And you got to learn how to be able to master those things to as Naib said, to reach the full peak maturity of masculinity or femininity. If you can't master your emotions as a woman, then you're never going to peak as a woman. And if you can't master your pride as a man, and that means for men, and I'm going to speak more on men, that's knowing when to hold them and when to fold them. You know, sometimes, I mean, I'm the leader of my house, but sometimes my wife make decisions for my house because it's just the duality, like we talk about in that book, Can I Be the Man? It's the duality. It's the things that make us different that brings us together. And it's a puzzle piece, you know, it's a puzzle piece. There are things about me that are missing, and there are things about her that are missing. And I think when we're dating out there, we get in relationships for love and lust more than from making sure that the economic foundation is set and right. And I think when we've adopted the westernized look on love, it's much to do about love and your feelings than it is about practicality. And you can have a beautiful flower, but if you don't put it in the water, then it's going to die. You got to have a foundation to be able to grow something. So if you have to choose between one thing or another, you should do your due diligence when you're in the dating market to be intentional about what you're looking for so that you can weed out the bullshit, because you might be looking at somebody that is totally attractive to you, but that person, if they get in a relationship with you, is going to be cancerous. And I said this on previous podcasts before, love and hate is very much so similar, more than you know. Hate is just a form of love that is unable to be expressed. And when you're not able to express something, you explode. And that's where hatred comes from, because you can't hate something that you never had some kind of feeling of love for in most cases. So I think if we get into relationships and we start asking the poignant questions, we start doing research. We're in the information age right now. I mean, you don't know if you're with a sex offender or whatever the case may be. Use the resources and tools that are available to you. This is the number one institution on the face of this earth that you can ever get into is marriage. And I think we're so cavalier when we're entering into those unions. And that's why we get into so much trouble. And then that spirals into leaving our women uncovered. And that spirals into leaving our children uncovered. And not only do we have those factors working against us, we have systemic factors working against us too. If you're on certain types of governmental assistance programs and everything like that, you cannot have that man in that house in most cases. And so it's a lose-lose situation, and you got a lot of different forces working against us, and it creates the environment of, I don't have to dialogue with this particular person, and it's denigrated man down to how much money you got and what can you do for me and my child, when the most impactful thing that a father can do is not visit that child on the weekend. Being a father is an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing. And how can we get those things going if we're so cavalier in who we're choosing to mate up with? And I know we get horny and everything. And look, I love sex. But when I met my first wife, it was totally sexual. She was not my friend. And everything I wrote down on a notebook, I got it in her. Everything physically. She was just terrible in the inside. She's sick, just to be honest. But when I looked at and I thought down and I wrote down the vision about my wife now, I focused and concentrated more on the qualities, the friendship, the things of that nature. And I think that's something that we're not doing. So I'm going to stop there.
I agree with that.
You preaching.
All right.
Well,
Said a mouthful, boy. Goodness gracious. So, man, everybody just got.
I was sitting over here reevaluating my life as he was talking. I was like,
I just knew somebody. What's up, Chris, man? And welcome to the podcast. You know, and I had to call and wake this joke up, man. He was sweet. No, he was sweet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Kristen snuck up in here. Okay, then.
Yeah. Hey, real quick. Does anybody know a Mo?
Mo? Yes. Yeah. I know Mo. Yes.
Okay. All right. I will let them in. Not because I was like, oh, who is you? Who is you? We getting deep up in here right now. That's it right here. Don't nobody else try and jump in. It's over. All right.
Mo actually has a question that she asked me last night, and I told her for once I don't have the answer. I do not have the answer. So I say I'll let you come on and I'll let you ask the men that question.
So we have another female. Okay, so y'all ain't getting jumped by 4 men no more. Y'all got all right.
If he didn't know the answer, I'm ready to hear this question.
Right.
Yes, sir. You
so I went on her to get her video together so she can ask this question.
Audio as well. Well, she working on it. While she working on it, the point of emotions was brought up, and the fellas, they know how I feel about this thing because matter of fact, I talked about it on Thursday on the at the event. But one of the things that I like to tell females is that every last emotion that y'all have, we have. Every last one. And subconsciously, we have been conditioned to not have those emotions. We only allowed to have about 3. We can be upset, we can be happy, and we can be frustrated. And there's a reason why I say frustrated versus being sad or whatnot. It is acceptable, that if we have like a death in the family or something of that particular nature, that we can shed tears. But some of us are conditioned to the point where even if we do have death in the family, we're gonna hold that thing in or whatnot. But the reality of it is that it's killing us as men. I think Chris gave the best analogy when he said, when we first started talking about this in references like sewing up a person's bowels, you know, if it don't come out through the bottom, it's coming out up the top. And that's part of the reason why you see a lot of the frustration in men, because one, we've been taught not to have these emotions, so we don't even know how to deal with it. Some of the emotions that we have, we don't even know what it is whatsoever. But we end up lashing out in a bad way, because when you deal with those negative things that's supposed to come out the bottom, once it comes out the top, it gets into the bloodstream and becomes toxic. So a lot of our reactions are toxic. Now, that is not to say that I'm in approval of a man putting his hands on a woman or anything of that particular nature. But what I do believe in is getting to the core of the reason behind it. And for me, I believe that is part of the reasoning behind it. Is that we don't have that ability to be naked and unashamed with our significant others. Why? We understand that y'all don't want no sensitive man. You don't want no man that's going every time something go wrong or whatnot. He crying.
Oh, we're crying somewhere.
So
old Keith Sweat begging ass.
We keep Sweat out of this now.
But seriously though, I would love to know your thoughts on this right here.
I think that it's important for men to be able to express their emotions and be sad. Like, I don't think that it's fair that they can't be sad and they can't cry. Like, you should be able to let those emotions out. But I think that with everything that y'all said, that goes to show that men do need therapy so that they can learn how to deal with their emotions and let them out in a healthy way, because it's unhealthy to keep those emotions in. I noticed a lot of guys that I deal with that in the past, that they smoke weed because they can't talk about their emotions and that's their release. And I'm like, I mean, that's fine. Weed is fine, but that's still not healthy. And it's still not helping the situation, because all you're doing is just smoking it, forgetting it for a minute, but the problem is still there. It needs to be addressed.
They're trying to burn it up. They're trying to burn up.
Right. But it still needs to be addressed. It's not addressed, and it ain't going to go away unless you do something to make it go away.
Right. But may I say something in regards to that? I'm sorry, after you. After you.
No, I was just going to say a lot of real women, I can't say all women, a lot of real women don't mind emotions. We just don't know how to get through those layers. Like, I can sit here and tell you all day, be vulnerable, but unless you ready to be vulnerable, me talking is waste. Like, it's not going to work. So if you were a real woman in a real relationship, we would actually respect those emotions more. But y'all won't peel those layers back. So it's like, so what are we supposed to do? Now, of course, like, if you're more emotional than me, then I don't know, how I would feel about that. But I'm not an emotional person. I can't say that. But if you're more emotional than a woman and you like super in tuning with your feelings, then, it might take a certain type of woman for that. But as far as being in a real relationship, long-term relationship, in a marriage, we will respect you way more if we having a serious conversation and a teardrop. Then you sitting there being all hard, then it feel like you don't love us, or that you know what I'm saying, whatever the case may be. Like, how in tune are you in this relationship if you can't be emotional with the one person you say you're gonna be with for the rest of your life?
There was a wise woman by the name of Tiffany Haddish, and she said, men are just women whose pussies fell out. And it's so fun. And it's so funny. But when you think about it, it's true, because at the time of conception, we all start out as girls. We have to grow into being men. So instead of looking at it like these are male emotions and these are female emotions, they're just emotions. The difference is men have to go out there and we have to put on so much armor every day, and we got to look hard. We got to look unbothered. And a wife is supposed to be our sanctuary. She's supposed to be our peace and our tranquility. And it goes back to trying to find a woman or trying to find a man that fits the criteria of what you need. And I think sometimes we don't take enough time to discover who we are so that we can figure out what the hell we do good and what the hell we don't do good. And I think we just so interested in not being alone, and we want company so bad. Sometimes we trip, slip, and we end up in relationships and we say, how the hell did we get here? All because we were lonely and we wanted some company. I mean, I'm going to confess, that's how me and my first ex-wife got together. I was trying to get the draws and made a commitment in the middle of sex. So the immaturity of me landed me in that situation, and that's a real situation. And I mean, to some degree, I know that others can relate to some experience at some point in time where they did something way prematurely than they should have. So we have got to make sure that we got the right roadmaps. I think our ladies need to make sure that if they don't have fathers in their lives, what man can you go to in your life that you trust, that at your most vulnerable state won't take advantage of you, but will cover you and protect you? Whether that is, I don't know, if that's a deacon, if that's a minister, if that's an uncle or somebody that just cares about you. Yeah, somebody that just cares about you sacrificially. Like, they're not going to take advantage of you, and they're not looking at trying to get a one-up on you. This is really, really key and important, because our ladies need keys to read, because when you get into the dating market, women can find themselves very highly emotional, and emotions are like fog clouds. You can't really, your visibility, you can't really see that far. You're thinking about what makes you feel good today, and you're hopeful about what can change tomorrow, but there's got to be some indication of what's going on today to tell you what's going to be happening possibly tomorrow. And I think that's happening there. And then, well, men, you know, we're thinking with the wrong head. And I think that's something that needs to be, men need to have discipline on too, because I have been in relationships with women where they do wrong to me, and then they use that wallet between their legs to apologize, to make things right, or to get something from me. And if we don't have as a man, if we don't have the discipline to not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of that, we can find ourselves in unhealthy emotional relationships too. You got to be able to say, no, girl, we got real issues. We got real problems, and me blowing your back out ain't going to fix nothing. Well, come on, I'll blow your back out, but we still got problems. But what I'm saying is we need to really try to work through those things. And we can only do those things if we understand and know our keys. And so many of us want to trust experience over wisdom, and experience don't give a damn about you. Wisdom takes you into careful consideration. And that's the problem I think that we run into today, is we would rather be sheep going to the slaughterhouse. Like, somehow you're going to be the sheep that's the exception to the rule that's not going to get slaughtered. You got so many people. You got aunties, grandmas, moms, and everything that have failed relationships after failed relationships. And you're not taking the time to utilize that wisdom, and you reject them and say, well, you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to relationship because you ain't in one. But that's the person that could teach you a whole lot of what not to do if you sit down with them and try to get some wisdom and understanding. So I think that's what's missing right now. No respect for the elders and how powerful they are to make the next generation not have to go through so many trials and tribulations that are unnecessary.
You know, it's funny. I get that last statement that you said about you're not in a relationship, you don't know how it works. I'm single, half of my friends are married, and I get that all the time. But I try to tell people I'm not married because I don't want to be married. It's not that I wasn't asked. I was asked numerous times and I turned them down because I knew that I didn't love them the way that they needed to be loved. And it wasn't fair for me to jump into a relationship or jump into a marriage just because it felt right at that moment. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. That would be selfish on my part, and that wouldn't be fair to you. So I'm not married because I don't want to be married. It's not because I can't get married. But I hear that a lot, that because I'm not married, that I don't know, I can't tell a married woman or a married man how to navigate their relationship. And I don't get that. I think that's crazy.
I agree. I think that's crazy as well. I think you can get advice or you can learn something from anyone. I mean, I don't think being married makes you the expert. Being single makes you the expert.
Right.
I don't think being saved in church makes you the expert. Being a sinner make you an expert. Like, I feel like you can get advice from anyone in life. It's up to you what you do with that information.
Like once we
But just to say,
realize
go
that there
ahead.
are no experts, that we're
There you
all
go.
out here striving and trying,
Exactly.
and that it will make things a whole lot easier. Because I know some great boxing coaches that have never thrown a punch a day in their life. There's some great football, basketball, never played the sport a day in their life, but they are great coaches. But I do also know people that great boxers, but horrible coaches. So just because you do something does not mean that you have the ability to be able to teach another about that particular thing. So that's one of those narratives that need to be changed. Period.
Yeah. Period.
My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. But, let's go ahead.
No. I was just gonna agree with you. Yeah. Chris, mighty quiet. Chris, we over talking you.
I'm just listening.
Turn your mic up, baby. Turn your mic up.
Man, my son had knob jockey and everything, so somebody got into my studio and started messing with some stuff, so I got to readjust again. But what was just said has been one argument that I've been dealing with for the longest, because just like what you were saying, Ron, that's pretty much it. Everybody wants to be taught from an experience, but fail to realize that most people have failed experiences. There's crackheads that can tell you about crack, and there's people that can't. The only thing that's different between that is that experience can tell you in depth how some things will go. But everybody's experience is different based on what they're dealing with. Because it might be some fine, divine crack, and it might be some crap crack. Your experience and your biology is something totally different. So anybody can speak from any point. Because, I mean, let's think about it. Aren't we supposed to be raising our kids to be husbands and wives and mothers and fathers and so forth and so on? So how can you tell somebody that hasn't achieved that goal yet that they know nothing? They seen this, whether it was in-house or somewhere else. So you may not have lived the experience. You may just have lived around the experience, but to some degree, somebody is able to tell you something. There's a lot of therapists that haven't been in the things that they give therapy to people for. So I honestly, I don't know. That I feel the same way about that.
That's just like when Derek Jackson was given that information and then everybody found out he was cheating. But I was like, who's best to give the information than a cheater?
Hey, don't talk about Derek. Don't talk about Derek.
He's an exception to the
rule. He's an exception.
Man, that joke is I don't even want to talk about it. For real. I really don't. I'm out here sending women off. I made sure every post I came across that he was on, I hashtag, he sent you off, sis. He sent you off. Yeah. But, to each his own.
Fits that description of what we talked about before about discipline, because the only thing different between a psychologist and a psychopath is discipline. A manipulator and a teacher, or a pimp and a man. We all know the same thing. We just have different levels of discipline.
That's real.
Mouthful.
I just love how cozy we are right now. There's no arguing. Everybody's agreeing with everything. No, I
You don't
just
see a lot
love.
of
Uh-oh.
places.
I just
Hey
love
man,
it.
hey look, don't get me started. I'll talk one subject and I'll turn this motherfucker up.
Hmm.
I'm curious. No, I don't want to know. It's too early. No, go
I do
ahead.
it.
No, 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 no.
No, I'm not going.
That is
I'm
not.
not going there. I'm not going there.
I,
Don't.
I
You
was
can't
gonna
do
say
it.
that is not what we gonna do again. Ain't no such thing as too early. If you got a question, put it on the table, baby. Talk about it.
All right.
No,
So
I'm not gonna jump into the subject, but you know, we know what the problem is in our community. It's right in front of our face and right in front of our faces. It's just that we're not taking the time to back up and really analyze and see what the problem is in our community. I mean, we have research, we have history. Why do you think that the powers that be spend so much time, effort, money, energy, and everything else trying to suppress information? It's because if we get access to the information that is true about us, there is once upon a time where things were prosperous for us, but we are so westernized that we can't bring ourselves to accept that, men and women. And I think that if we look around and we see everything that is going on, and we don't like what is going on, then we are insane to think that we're going to keep doing the same things and that we're going to somehow get a different result. And that's the real issue. That's the real issue. I mean, look at us as a community right now. Our women are crying in the streets for our men. I know y'all saw probably that video of this guy that had the gun pulled on him, and a woman jumped in front of him and was pleading to the police to not kill him. And this is something that has been going on scripturally. Even in the book, if you read the Bible in Isaiah chapter 3, you go towards the bottom, it talks about the issues and the problems that we're having in our communities. See, these prophets, they predict what's going to happen in the future and what's happening today. It starts out talking about our water and our food supply being cut off. Look at what's happening in Flint. Look at what they're doing to our foods. Look at these types of things. Like, these are types of things that we're not being conscious about. And sorry to be so deep, but that's who I am. But we are not being conscientious about, and we're not taking a step back to look at it. It's like yesterday's podcast. Naib said it best. You put $1 right on my eyelids, I can't see any details or anything about the dollar. I don't even know it's $1 if I open my eyes and it's right there. And these are the issues that's going on with us. I mean, we are in a burning house right now, and we're trying to put out the flames in our house, when what we really need to be trying to do is we need to do like Martin Luther King say, and we need to get out of the house. Remember, Martin Luther King was all good until the last few years of his life, when he was radicalized and he was more concerned about, hey, look, man, this integration thing is really not the deal. We need to separate for a while and get ourselves together. And that's what we're trying to say on this podcast right here. We men and women need to go in, they need to both go into their corners. And then the elders need to speak on each part. And we need to figure out what's wrong with us as men, and women need to figure out what's wrong with them as women, because we both have things that are wrong with us. And then once we figure that out, we can get some clarity about being realistic on what we're asking for. I think a lot of times, men and women, we're asking for superhuman partnerships. And we have to respect that people are and have the abilities that they have, and that's what they bring to the table. And if that person doesn't have the abilities that you're looking for in a partner, that's either one or two things. You need to stop wasting that person's time, or you need to reevaluate, are you being reasonable about what you're requesting, whether you're a man or a woman? So when we start talking about these, so in summary, when we start talking about the problems in our community, we got, I heard somebody say this the other day, 25% of our men are getting put in jail. 25% of our men are deciding that they're going to be homosexuals, or they're going to be gay, or whatever the case may be. And so these things, albeit you can make a choice to do and live your life the way you want to, that doesn't help the growth of us. And there's been a propensity to try to eradicate our race, and they just can't do it. I mean, you go into white neighborhoods, and there are fertility clinics. You go into black neighborhoods, and then there's Planned Parenthoods, things of that nature, and we're not paying attention to those things. And the greatest crime of all that's been put against us is making black women see black men as enemies, and men who are immature that have pride issues fighting them back. So we never had an issue with each other, even during slavery. We never had those types of issues, but that was an issue that the white woman had with the white man, and she pulled the black woman into those issues and said, "We got a problem with it. It's a woman-man problem." No, that's y'all shit over there. But what we dealing with over here, we have the formula for the solutions. It's just that not only are women dealing with emotions, they're taking on they are forsaking the estrogen, and they're taking on the testosterone a lot of times, and they want to go out there and they want to be men. They don't want men to be men. And that's why this book is talk about, can I be the man? It's like we got to ask for permission to be who we're supposed to be. And on the flip side, men need to step up when they have the opportunity, and they need to do what they need to do. That's why we need to call a truce, go to our corners, get our shit straight, and then come back together. And so we can stop this cold war that we have in between each other.
I do not agree with women want to be men. Women do not want to be men. We are sick and tired of being men, and we want to find a man that will let us relinquish that power to them. Trust and believe.
So we just got the party.
A lot of women take on the roles of being men because they have to. It's not
because they have to. It's not because we want to. And then we can't find, a lot of times you can't find a man that's even able to take that off of you.
I agree.
There we go, D.
I agree.
That was the point.
I've heard this a long time ago, and this is the light, and this is what I've heard. 50% of men are men of excuses.
I agree.
I beg to say.
I agree. I made the comment. What happened? I think about 2-3 weeks ago or whatnot, and I got a lot of backlash for this, right? But I said that men have become lazy and they're cowards, literally, because I see y'all over there shaking your head, but y'all part of the reason we don't like this too. I'm gonna swing you back. I'm gonna swing you back. I'm gonna swing you back. But we are afraid to take on the fear and the responsibility, rather, of being that sole provider. And we would rather have y'all go out there taking care of 50% of what is supposed to be our job to do 100% of, and still expect y'all to go home and do everything else. We're supposed to be that sole provider. And I'm not saying y'all can't work or anything of that particular nature. What I'm saying is it should be an option. As a man, it is my job to make sure that I can take care and handle everything within my household, to include making sure that my kids get through college, vacations, and every other thing else, which is what has your help, in essence, has made us lazy. Because guess what? If we didn't have that help, if that option wasn't there, we got to now use our mind to figure out how our families are going to survive. We got to use our minds, our intellect, our hands, every other thing else, in order to go out here and make sure that I can make enough money to keep food on the table, to keep y'all in them beauty salons, toes done, everything else. Make sure that I have enough money to be able to save for my kids' college fund or whatever it is that I'm supposed to be doing. But we have become, like I said, lazy and cowards because, one, we don't want their responsibility, because guess what? Them lights get turned off, who's going to get done?
It's us.
I kind of blame that on our parents, because the dads wasn't in the house. Some people, their dads wasn't in the house. So a lot of times the woman was the one that was out busting her tail, making sure that the lights and stuff was on. And then the women coddled the boys. And made them pretty much who they are now, made them lazy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
I said this before in the beginning when we first started this. I said my mama had shared this same exact sentiment. I had an uncle of mine. He was talking about my mama, something other about her being a strong black woman, and Yolanda Fisher, her son Reese. Him and I had this conversation back in 2014. I remember, and we were talking about it, and I said that my mama said that it's not the fact that I wanted to be a strong black woman. They were left with no choice but to be a strong black woman, strong black women, because the men just didn't want to step up. They don't want to. It's rare to find that.
Yeah.
So if
That's
it's
what
rare,
I'm
so let me say this. So if it's rare to find that,
I don't know what happened to your audio, but I can't hear nothing you're saying.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I sure can. There we go.
Okay, sorry about that. So if it's a rarity to find a man like that, then what's the problem here? If it ain't too many men out there that can step up and be men, and our women are selecting or allowing to be selected by men that are not qualified to be with them for 23 of them chromosomes that you don't want in your body to be created in your child, for your child to have a 50% chance to be just like their daddy that you don't like, then what do you think the solution is, coupled with the fact that our men are going to jail, our men are getting killed in these streets, and there's a shortage of not only just men in general, but that makes it all the more the shortage of good men. What are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to procreate if we're going to create men and little boys and girls that will grow up to men and women of righteousness? How are we going to do that if we're mating with trash? Tell us.
Trash.
That's deep.
He said
That's deep. Some of it comes back to what Chasity said about women coddling men. I think a lot of men don't ever grow up because they're being coddled. My first son's father, he's doing much better now. Thank you, Lord. But a lot of the times when he was out there selling drugs, when he was out there in prison, when he was not taking care of his child, whatever the case may be, his mom had every excuse in the book of why he couldn't do that. Oh, he didn't have his father, or society is against black men, or they can't find good jobs, or blah blah. And I'm like, some of that is true. Don't get me wrong, but like I said, women, we do it every day. When I had my son, I wasn't responsible. I was out there in the streets being a hoe, partying, drinking, whatever the case may be. You want to say, like, just to be honest. But as soon as I got pregnant, I knew, it's time to grow up. So why couldn't he do the same?
So the root issue is, because I don't believe in dealing with branches and leaves. I believe in dealing with the roots. The roots go right back to what I said earlier. What are the indicators when we are dating? What are we looking for? How important it is to find out about that boy or that girl, if you will, their relationship with their mom, what their mom and dad are like. Do they have a relationship with their dad? Do they have daddy issues? Like, before we allow ourselves to put ourselves in a presumptuous situation to fall in love with a person, why aren't we doing the investigation to find out these issues before we lay down and we procreate with each other, or we get in these marriages that end up being divorces? That's the root problem right there, and it's going to take leadership. So it's sort of like the story of Moses. Moses was supposed to lead the Israelites to the promised land, but Moses didn't get to make it to the promised land. This generation has to have the mindset that I may not make it to the promised land with you, but I'm going to lay the foundation for you so that you can make better decisions and choices, so that the next generation is in a better situation to make the next generation even better. And that's the problem right now. So when I said earlier about women carrying this the testosterone. I said that on purpose because that is the feeling in society right now on some people, and I wanted to bring that to the table because we were all getting along and acting all hunky dory, and that ain't the wave. But what I'm saying here is this too as well, and we can go back and we can look at maybe like I think it was World War II when the men went off to fight and the women left the kitchens and went out to the workforce. You know, the women have said, "Hey, look, we don't want to go back home. You know, we don't want to go back home." So we could start it right. We could start it right there, because at one point women were happy doing those types of things, and I think it's cool. Like Naib said, it's cool if you want to work and go out there and do that. You want to be a Proverbs 31 woman. That's great. They are hard to find, so that's great. But what we're saying is the way men are built and the way women are built is differently. So there are things like I can be a nurturing and loving person, but I can't do it on a consistency basis like my wife can. It's just, that's not my primary thing. And I can do it. And I mean, I have 4 daughters. So I mean, I can do it. I can be a sourpuss to my daughters, but that's not my nature. And it's just like when women go out there, they can be managers, CEOs, vice presidents, presidents of the country, and all of those other types of things. But it's just like at the price of leaving your primary role, that has become part of the issue. And men not going out there and doing the things that they're supposed to do from a provisional and a protection standpoint for our women, that's part of the reason. So we both play a role in why we're in this conundrum right now. And that's what needs to be addressed. But there needs to be dialogue, which we're having, and there needs to be honest conversation. Like, put our feelings and pride aside. Let's just try to get to the solution, because it's going to be compromised on both sides to make this thing happen and make this thing work. No one person is going to be able to just have it all the way that they want. And by the same token, there's going to be some things that we're going to have to get accustomed to doing again that we weren't doing before. Because and I'm going to be honest about myself. I remember a conversation I had with Naib, and I was sitting there and I was going through something with my wife, and he had to check me because I was that undeveloped man who wanted more out of my wife than she was designed to be and do, which would have just shortened her lifespan. And I had to get on my game and take accountability and sacrifice what I needed to sacrifice so I could be the man that I'm supposed to be. And now I look back at that man and I'm saying, how dare you be that way towards her and expect all of that from her? I mean, it was a song that came out and said, "I'm not your superwoman." I mean, women have been crying about this. You know what I'm saying? So these are the types of things that we got to get under control, and we got to put our emotions. Women, I know most of the time your logic can filter through your emotions, but you have to master that. Work on that, master that. And men, their pride and your ego causes you to get in so many bad situations. You got to work on that. And you got to know when to hold them and when to fold them, man.
Go ahead, Chasity. I see it. You got that look like you you got that look. I don't even know you like that, but I can feel your energy.
I really don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like this is a good conversation to have. And I honestly don't know what my question is or how to phrase it to make it sound good.
Just make it sound.
What is it that women can do? Because like, you know, I said women don't want to be superwoman, but we just have to be superwoman. What is it that women can do to make men take some of that superwoman from them?
Okay.
What can I say? One thing that I feel like we could do?
Go ahead.
We need to be honest in the as soon as we meet a man, we need to be honest about what we need and want.
There you go. Preach.
Exactly.
Like a lot of times we, like you said that quote the other day, I can't remember from Zane or whatnot, but what was it again, Chaz?
See, you should have told me to be prepared.
You remember? Oh Lord, what was it? D anyway, like I can't remember, but a lot of
He
times
said
we
that
put
most of the time
that happens to
a
us.
man marries
Okay.
a woman representation, and a woman marries a man's potential.
That's energy right there, because we were just talking about that.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You always meet somebody's
if both
representative.
parties, right. So if both parties was being honest from the get-go, first of all, we need to take physical attraction out of it. I mean, that's all cool and dandy, but physical attraction don't keep people married for 100 years. Like, let's just be honest. Like, that's gonna die down. People gonna get old, stuff gonna start sagging, whatever the case may be. So if we remove that and have honest, real conversations, date 1 and 2, you could avoid a lot of the issues from the get-go.
That's true.
I think one of the things that we have to look at is, are you my friend? And because a lot of us love people that we don't like, for real, love people that we don't like, and that friendship is the key. We was talking about, I think somebody said, I can't remember which one of y'all said it. One of y'all said something about how to pull those layers back.
Oh, yeah.
Or not. Friendship is a big part of being able to pull those layers back. Because the same way y'all have a wall, we got a wall, and some of us got a whole fortress. You can't climb over that junk. You can't knock it down. You can't go around it. You can try and dig up under it. It ain't happening. The only way you're gonna get behind it is through invitation. Yep, you got to be invited. Have to be invited, and trust us men. We are good at it. We are good at it. We can have that wall up and make you feel loved and everything else, and you have not even touched our heart. Touched it at all. But if I might, I got a couple of questions, and I want to play around with the root. I want to play around with the root. What was the first toy y'all had growing up?
I'm pretty sure mine was a Barbie doll.
Barbie doll. What about you, Miss Sunshine?
Barbie
doll.
The same.
Okay, fellas, what was the first
Hot Wheels
y'all had?
Hot Wheels.
A car. What about you, Chris?
We playing
Pretty
basketball.
much it. Pretty much it, man. I had some of everything between basketball sets, footballs, cars, all of that.
You had it all, bro.
Guns and instruments, though.
Now,
They had some money.
Right, they was rich.
Only grandkid.
The reason I asked that question because it deals directly with the root of our issue as men or whatnot, and the role in which we're supposed to be playing. See, the vast majority of women out there, y'all received some type of toy that was going to teach you how to be a mother, how to be a woman, things of that particular nature. Us men, if you notice, we got cars, basketballs, and things of that nature. Nothing that is going to teach us how to be a man. Matter of fact, if you gave your son a doll baby,
people get mad.
Yeah, it was an issue. But the reality of it is, at some period point in time, he's going to have to handle a baby. He's going to have to handle one.
Right.
And so we go through years and years and years of learning how to play games. And the reality of it is that when we start hitting puberty and we start getting interested in girls, y'all become a game as well. Think about it. Even when we talk about hollering at women, you ain't got no game. I'm for real. You don't have no game. We've been taught nothing but how to play games, which is part of the reason why a lot of us are. You say what?
What you said earlier was something that hit me because I realized something, because I know for a fact I was one of those ones like, I don't want my son messing with none of this, none of that. But I saw him one time with one of my daughter's baby dolls, not the Barbie doll, but the actual baby. And I realized something when I saw that, because he was treating that baby same way that he sees us treat his baby sister. So in that instance, I was like, all right, at least he knows how to handle a baby, because his sister did the same thing to him when he was a baby. She would help give his bottle, pacifier, stuff like that, and they learn how to take care of each other. Now, the other toys that she got, like the pink stuff, the little other stuff, that we're not doing that right now. We here you go. Here's your Hot Wheels. But I made that point to my wife when I saw it. I was like, he needs to know this as well, because for one, he has a baby sister. I don't want to be walking to the sink to go fix a bottle and then he's mishandling her or doing something to her that she's not supposed to, because the older two, they get violent. They love each other, but they like to fight and play a lot too. So in that instance, yeah, it's an importance. But the continuing of playing with like the other dolls and stuff like that, doing hair and stuff like that, no.
There's a balance.
So I got a question. Why do you feel like your son doesn't need to know how to do hair? What if he grows up, God forbid, he has a wife, they get married, they have a daughter, something happens to the wife, she dies, he's stuck with the child, and he doesn't know how to do hair because that's frowned upon.
Oh, there's nothing
wrong. He can watch a YouTube video.
There's certain things that you're going to learn at certain stages of your life.
Say again, Chris, I didn't hear that.
Now, I said there's nothing wrong with them learning how to do hair and stuff like that, but there's certain things that you're going to learn at certain stages in your life. Like at his age right now, it's those foundational things. Learn your ABCs, your 1s, 2, 3s, how to read and do all the little functioning stuff. But once you get to a certain age, I step in on that training, because I'm going to.
So let me ask. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
You get. I mean, because I can.
No. So I got a question, and maybe I need some training in parenting, because my number one goal is to keep my daughters off the pole. So when my daughters play with the doll, babies, all they do is strip their clothes off. Am I doing something wrong?
No, that's just what we do. We used to take their clothes off and lose them.
We curious, that's all.
Yeah, but they don't never put them back on. Never put them back on.
Right, and you can buy some more clothes and they'll wear them for one day, but we're gonna lose them again. It's something that we're doing.
So I'm going to make a confession. That only my family members know. But when I was coming up, one of my first toys was a Cabbage Patch. I had a Cabbage Patch doll that was named after me. It was a little boy. It's a little boy joint. I used to carry that thing everywhere. Matter of fact, I left it at the dentist one day, and I literally cried because that thing was doggone gone, man. It was so serious. But
look how you turned out.
At the same time, I did learn some very valuable things when I look back on it and whatnot, because I remember faithfully or whatnot giving them the bottle or whatnot, laying them down to sleep. Now I won't do no extracurricular stuff like pushing them in the stroller and everything else or whatnot. But you know what I'm saying? As far as being a father, when I look back on it, it was very, very impactful. It was very impactful.
Yeah.
But I became a father at a very young age. So being able to know how to change diapers and how to put a baby to sleep and all that other good stuff was valuable for me. But one thing that I will say, and this is a point that I want to bring up, is that I believe within our parenting, we have a tendency of putting too much emphasis on the intangible things. What I mean by that is go out there, get that scholarship, go to college and things of that particular nature. And all these things are good, right? But at the end of the day, that diploma, that degree, that title that comes behind your name does not dictate the morality of the individual. Because there are a lot of doctors out here that go home and go right upside their significant other head. So
let me.
The last thing I was going to say is that there needs to be a balance. We have to make sure that we have that balance, and with the tangible as well as the intangible. Go ahead, though.
And this is a question for everybody, so anybody can take this question. Why is it, especially in the Black and brown community, why is there such an emphasis on education growing up?
Well, some of it is because we didn't have that option. Well, our ancestors didn't have that option. So some of it is now we raising you, and you're in a more equal environment, more equal. Well, it ain't equal nowhere, but anyway, you know what I'm saying. So a lot of the folks that was before our time didn't have that option. So we feel like that should be what you should do. Now that college is available to Black people, we should be in college, which I don't agree with that. I told my son, don't go to college and waste my money. Like, that ain't your calling, don't do it. But a lot of folks think that that's what you have to do. Like, and a lot of them is because our great grandmothers didn't have that option to go to college. So y'all need to go to college and break the chain of us not being educated.
I think I'm not going to answer the question just yet, but I think in that reference, we need to give our kids options or whatnot. Either, like for me, I don't. If you don't want to go to college, I'm not going to tell you to go to the military or go get a job. I want you to start a business. How about that? You know what I'm saying? Let's use the talents that you get and turn that thing into a business. And that way, that money that I have saved up for you to go to college or whatnot, if you come correct with a business plan in 5-10 years of what it is that you want to do or whatnot, let's take that money and invest into you in type of deal. And then you can hit college on the back end just to improve upon what it is you already doing type of deal. Just being able to change the narrative up.
I need to take that advice. I tell my son all the time, I do tell him either he gonna have to do one or the other, because I don't believe he gonna lay in my house and do nothing. But I tell him that he's gonna either go to college, go in the service, go to community college, take up a trade, or have some kind of backup plan is usually what I tell him. So I'll say, and I'm not gonna make the decision for you because only you can live your life. But in his mind, I'm gonna be a gamer. So how do you keep them in reality mode but not kill their dream at the same time? Because let's be honest.
So they have classes that they can sign up to learn how to code for games. So you can.
Oh, my bad. I don't mean to interrupt. I'm a gamer myself. There's a lot of money in gaming.
Right.
It is. I'm not saying it ain't. I'm just saying it's a very small percentage of people who actually make it there. So what's his backup plan is what I'm trying to get him to think of.
It's what Chasity was just saying, the ability to actually code and things of that particular nature. If he come up with a game,
right,
or not, then
so one of the things that I try to do with my kids is whenever they tell me that they are interested in anything, I try to take them to something pertaining to that. Like one of them said they wanted to go to college. So we went to a college one day and walked around. One of them said he wanted to be a scientist. So we went to the museum and learned about science stuff and everything. One wanted to work with animals. So we went to the zoo and got to feed animals and all this. We also started a company that's theirs that I paid for up front, and I made them give me my money back. So everything that they earned, they got a little bit of it, and I got all my money back. Until now, everything that they make is 100% theirs, but they brought me back out, and I made them understand that. My oldest, he was saying that he wanted to work on games. And I recently saw a thing where they got a class for kids that teach them how to code games and stuff. So I'm going to sign him up for that. He might just do it one day. Who knows? He might keep it and do the whole thing and like grow up and do it. But I try to, if they got interest in stuff right now, I try to let them see if that's something that they really want to do so that they don't waste their time whenever they get older. Because I wasted my time when I got older and went to college for something that I shouldn't have went to school for, because nobody really does anything to pique my interest.
And Chaz, I ain't go front. You did something that I 100% salute you for. My twin brother told me that was one of his biggest issues with us growing up. So a story that he was telling me recently. He said we was on. Now I don't remember this, But we was in daycare, and he said that he used to play the guitar or something like that. And our daycare teacher, she went and told our mama about it. And he felt some type of way because she didn't try to go get him no guitar lessons or anything or whatever. And his thing was, he's not going to teach my nephew. Basically, he's not going to put him through that. If they taking a liking to something, he gonna put them in that class. Just like you said, you got to nurture that talent. If they take an interest to it, do it, or their dreams are going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and I agree with that. If I can get him to agree to go to college or to go to some kind of class and do coding, I'm perfectly fine with it. The problem is society, aka YouTube, got you thinking I just can sit here in my room and play games, and somebody gonna see me, and I'm gonna get 1 million likes, and now I'm gonna make money. That's the problem.
But it's possible.
I'm struggling
And
trying to
it
get
is. I'm not saying that it ain't. I'm not gonna say that it ain't, but let's just be real. That's
Right.
a very small population.
Right.
That's not millions and millions of people that's doing that.
One thing that I do want to throw out there and is on topic, but it's not fully. The baby boomers. A good portion of the baby boomers controlled trade and the trade courses or whatnot. What I mean by that is the majority of our plumbers, technicians, HVAC, mechanics, things of that particular nature are from the baby boomer generation.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? They are old now. They can't keep doing the same thing as they doing. When you call for a plumber and you see that old man coming there with that
overalls and his crack.
yeah, or not them days, their retirement days is here. So that is something that we need to introduce to our kids, being able to use their hands again. I know we're in a computer age, but guess what? Them computers can't fix your toilet. Them computers can't fix the electricity and things of that particular nature or whatnot. There's nothing wrong with these type jobs whatsoever. You start yourself a welding company, you gonna make money.
Money, yeah.
Money.
So, I know a lot of, especially within our community, I don't know why we do it, but a lot of us look down on jobs of that particular nature, but there's money there for it. Everybody ain't meant to be a doctor. Everybody ain't meant to be a lawyer, basketball player, football player, writer, whatever, or whatnot. I wish I knew how to use my hands because I'll be all over it. I'll be all over right now. On what Lee he said, watch YouTube. That's what I got to do.
Well, I want to say this.
And a lot of that is parents' faults. Go ahead.
No, you're right, Sunshine. The what we also need to piggyback on is we need to learn how to teach our children whatever their dreams and desires are. We need to help them with those dreams in terms of how to automate it. Okay, I think that's what's missing, because at the end of the day, what do we all want to do? Whatever we want to do. Well, we want to do whatever we want to do. That free. You had this conversation with me on the phone, D, just yesterday. The ability to be able to move and maneuver like you want to is probably just as valuable, if not more valuable, than the money that you make. And if we are going to tie ourselves down to work, it's got to be something that we totally passionate about, and not something that we're going through the motions about. So you'll see this often, and this is what happened in our community that makes me sick to my stomach. We have very, very intelligent, talented young students that get into college, and they will major in bakery. They will major in African American studies. And it's like they're not having the conversation of what are you going to do with that degree. And then you look at other ethnicities, and they're not going to school for any old thing. You go look at if an Indian person goes to school, what are they going to be studying? They're going to either be studying to be a doctor, or they're going to be studying to be in the IT department. You know what I'm saying? And so same thing with Asians and same things with Jewish people. And we're all over the place when we're talking about getting degrees. And what we need to do is we need to hone in for our kids, be like, if you're going to go to school, it has to be something that when you get the degree, you can take and bring that back and serve your community, because our community is really underserved. And I'm not going to put any names out, but it's somebody in my family, very, very extremely intelligent, went to school to study parks and recreation. And I'm like, what are you going to do with that? And then when you get out, and she graduated, she's doing nothing that pertains to that, nor did she have any idea about what she was going to do with that. And I think that's what's happening is when we're sending our kids to school and we're paying $25,000, $30,000 a year for education or whatever the case may be. That's money that we could have took $25,000, $30,000 in and started a hair salon or started that barbershop. Something that could have been serving the community and circulating the dollars more than that 6-hour shit that we do now. Sorry about my language, but that's something that we need. We're so all over the place with that.
All right. Well, there's a lot of us on, right? There's a lot of us on, and we're coming close to that time. So we're going to, since there's a few of us, we're going to go ahead and move into our final thoughts real quick. But before we do that, I definitely want to thank y'all for coming on. We're going to have to sit down and talk and see about having y'all on again, because I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this. I was nervous at first. I don't know. I thought we was going to be up here brawling, but and that's not what I wanted to display on this thing, because the whole purpose is to put an end to the Cold War between men and women. And the only way that we can do that is with intelligent and peaceful dialogue. And I think that this was a good example of being able to display that, considering that, I think, ladies, y'all know one person on this panel besides on this panel. So for us, in essence, not knowing each other, being able to come together and have a dialogue of this nature, is a beautiful thing. But there's still some conversations that I would like to have with y'all that I know is a little bit more sensitive than what we talked about. So I'm definitely going.
Please come back.
Definitely gonna bring y'all back, but we're gonna pass the floor. I'm gonna pass the floor on to everyone. Whoever want to go first, feel free. So y'all want me to call people out? Seriously?
Peace and love.
Ladies first.
Nah, I'll go.
Go ahead,
I'll go.
Okay.
It's as simple as black men. Y'all got to learn how to start protecting these black women. I can't say any more plainer than that. Protect these black women. I'm done.
That's what's up.
So long-winded.
Right. All I got to say is communication is key. Let's have honest conversations. Short and sweet. Take it how you need to take it, but let's have honest, real conversations with each other, with the same race, with different races, with family members, parents, whatever you need to do to get over your childhood trauma, to get over what's going on in your life. Start being honest with yourself and being honest with folks around you, because if they meant to be in your life, they'll be there.
Hold on, and make sure you tell the people how to find you.
Yes, so we are occasionally Posh. So we do our podcast. Well, we record every Wednesday and go live at least once a month on our Facebook page, but you can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and you can also listen to our podcast via most podcast platforms: Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Pandora, at Google, whatever the case may be. We definitely gonna have you guys on our podcast as well. Hopefully, maybe next month, so we can finish this conversation, and dive in a little deeper. And we appreciate you guys having us.
All right.
Hey, hold on, one last thing. Hey, wrong. I remember that you said that you were trying to invite them out in June, right?
Yeah. I was gonna talk about that off air though.
Well,
that way, if I get rejected, at least it's not in public.
She's so embarrassed of rejection.
Oh, I ain't able to make it.
Oh man, I got it though. I got it. Who next? Who won?
I was gonna say, women do not want to be superwoman. Help us take the super off a woman, and women stop coddling these men and let them be men.
Amen.
Man, if I know all these closing thoughts was gonna be so short, we could have kept talking.
Hey, but with that being said, I know that Little Mo said that she loved being Superwoman.
Hey, you seen Lil Mo? Lil Mo was crazy. We're not listening.
I'm about to say, you see what they got her?
I'm just saying what you're saying. You and all that type of stuff. I'm like, what?
I'm not your superwoman.
I'm not the kind of girl that you can lay down.
I think that everything's all right.
Oh, sorry.
Because what?
All right, Chris, come on.
More than occasional.
Know your role, know your purpose, live in it.
Know your role, know your purpose, live in it. Y'all, is y'all showing up because of the women that's here normally?
Yep. Show off.
The whole half hour
over on these final thoughts and stuff. I got it.
All right, let me say this. Stop introducing people to your representative and start introducing who you are to people for who you really are. If you cannot date yourself, don't date anybody else. Go and change this stuff about you that need to be changed so you could tolerate yourself if you had to date yourself, so you can be presentable and suitable to somebody else. So do that, because you will take somebody who is a perfectly ready for somebody else, and you can damage them. And being that they don't go out and get counseling to resolve that issue and jump into a new situation, they could be with the right match, and because they didn't address those issues that you bestowed upon them, a lot of times men to women, then they lose out on a potential husband that they could have spent the rest of their lives with because of self-sabotaging. So make sure that it's nothing wrong with getting counseling. Please, if you can get counseling, even if you got to go to church and get some free counseling, call 211 or something and find somebody that can help you. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong. As a blanket statement, if you are Black and you are in America, something is probably wrong with you. There is no way you could live in the conditions that we live in and you be totally together. Something can be adjusted, even if it's just an evaluation. Even when you go to school, you get a progress report to tell you how you're doing. So you need a progress report on life, because that's your credit score for life. And you need to make sure that you are in the best possible. You got the best. You got a good credit rating when you're going out there and entering the dating market. So please be disciplined enough to know that you need to pull yourself out of the dating pool, sacrifice what you need to sacrifice, and work on yourself. It don't take a long time. Take a year, take 6 months, work on yourself, and get yourself in a suitable position to make whatever dreams and desires that you have come true.
All right, that's more like it.
That's right.
All right. So I'm gonna end just like this, right? I know we was raised and taught that the world evolved around us, and it caused us to become very, very, very self-centered. But it does not. It evolves around all of us, literally. There's not one issue, there's not one problem within humanity right now that we cannot bring it back to the core, which is the relationship between the man and the woman. We want to see real effective change in this world within humanity. We have to repair the relationship between both men and women. There's no way around it. Our duality is out of whack, which is the reason why the rest of this world is out of whack. Think I'm joking. Think I'm joking. You have nature. Everything in this on this earth is connected to nature, even us. Then you have the nations, and then you have the communities. There is no community without the family. But a lot of us like to stop there. There is no family without the relationship between a man and a woman. So we sit at the core, at the very core of things. The good thing is, we're on the right path. We're on the right path. We need to pull those things and that our ancestors, our grandparents, great grandparents, and parents did correct and did right, pull them into our generation and adjust them so that it will work for us. But at the same time, learn from the mistakes that they made and make sure that we don't go down that path. Love the conversation, love everything it is that we have been doing. Again, can I be the man? A letter from us to you. Congrats, Chris. I appreciate it. That is my man that put the audio book together, Telemate Productions. We definitely appreciate you all. We are official now. It is out. The audio book is out. So all 3 platforms is covered. Or not, go get it. I'm telling you, even if you get the book, go get the audio book. I'm telling you, I don't even have no words for it. You just need to get it. You just need to get it. As simple as that. You can catch us. Don't forget to catch me on the King's Court every Tuesday and Thursday on the frequency CO. Make sure you go like and share that. You'll be able to catch the podcast that is from 8 to 10 Mountain Standard Time every Tuesday and Thursday. We about to turn up or whatnot. They forced me into a topic that I was trying to talk about later on, but I'm not even gonna bring it up right now. You got to watch on Tuesday. But hey, look, we got to get up out of here. The King has spoken. We out.